start our programs, it should be those programs that can easily be understood by the communities.
That's right.
And that there are those which can bring vivid impact on the communities themselves. So if you look at a local community in Uganda, be it in the rural or be it in the urban, what do they need? They need food, they need water, they need health, and maybe they need also a voice.
Yeah.
And so when we are carving out our development philosophy, that is where we carved it out. And that's why this organization, CD, is called an integrated program, because we integrated all those activities within our development program. And in a way, this caused the communities where we work to own that program, because they see that it is directly addressing the needs that we are trying to focus on. And I think that was a pillar in our success.
Okay. Yes. Now, looking at the nature of humanitarian interventions, many of us cannot actually keep track of progress made for a particular community away from the visible aspects. For example, houses have been built for a particular section of a community, or jobs have been created. But improvement of livelihoods at the core of a community is hard to track. Now, when you look at the works of CD over the years, it's embedded within the community, as you say, ensuring, for example, the use of appropriate technologies to be able to transform, especially aspects of entrepreneurship. How are you able to say, for example, that this year we were able to do this and this and this, this is how it has rolled out, this is how we can either make things better or change course in case a particular program is not working the way we intended it to work? How do you track that way of doing interventions in order to ensure that there's a clear marker for performance?
I mean, you are quite right that it is not easy to track performance, and many organizations are grappling with it.
Yeah.
And there's quite a lot done out there, and which you cannot maybe ascribe it to yourself, because you cannot track it. But what CD has done is, right from the word go, we have set up a system which is called the Management Information System. And that system tracks performance. You list a set of indicators that you'd wish to achieve, say in food security, in incomes, in water and sanitation, maybe in some other parameters that you want to measure. And then there is a software that we use, putting tools within that software, and whenever we do the implementation, that tool is fitted. And then you are in a position to track what you have achieved through that period. And it is a condition for us, for every staff to fill into that form. We are working in 28 districts, but in each of those districts we have what we call the M&E officers. They are charged with making sure that those tools are fitted.
M&E, that is
monitoring and evaluation. Monitoring, and these days we call them MIL, monitoring, evaluation and learning officers. They are those who are doing the implementation, but they are those who are specifically charged with how do we track figures and how do we track improvement. And it is reviewed on a regular basis. And once it is reviewed, then it informs you whether you should do more, or you should do less, or you should change, or you should adapt.
That's right.
Yes, so that's the purpose of that system. And for us, it has helped us very much.
Talking about the ability to maintain a tracking system, especially within the sectors that help government, is there a synergy, for example? We've seen consistently so, when disaster strikes, for example, in Kasese, along the ranges of Mount Elgon, there is a tendency for the Office of the Prime Minister or government to approach it as though this is another first, you know, yet these are disasters that can be tracked, have been happening, and you can actually know which particular intervention and how to deal with it. Is there a synergy between what we would call the private sector in humanitarian intervention and the government to ensure that there is harmony in the conduct of work or how you intervene?
I think talking about disasters, it's quite a complex situation, because with the disaster, you can do prevention, you can do mitigation, you can do preparedness, you can prepare, or you can respond, and then maybe also you can try to see how you alleviate suffering when people have gone into that situation.
Yeah.
What I have observed is that most of the time, all of us, including government, we are in that small aspect of response, trying to save lives when things have happened. But I think we need to do more. We need to do more on the aspect of planning and also in the aspects of mitigation. We have seen that we get mostly situations of flooding, like for instance in the east, which are perpetual, and landslides, and then also in the west, in Kasese. What can we do about that? That one needs to prior planning. Like for instance, do we need to plant trees in those areas so that we can avoid maybe the erosion? What do we do if the situation, well, how do we respond if at the end of the day it's not possible to mitigate? Do we have sufficient resources, for instance, bulk food stores, to be able to give to these people when the situation is out of hand? Do we have moving equipment, for instance? When
we have to completely look at the local governments.
Yeah, I have seen in
that are already constrained.
Slides in Bududa, people using hand hose to dig out others. We need to do. I think we need to do more in
a lot more than that.
Do we have remote sensing equipment that can help us to maybe tell that a disaster is about to happen? So remote sensing and also aspects of predicting the weather is very, very important, so that we can either to alert our people or to prepare ourselves, and also having a technically competent team to handle these aspects. I think we can do more on the side of government, networking with the civil society, and then we put these things in place. Either we can look at the comparative advantages of each and the capacities each one has, which we can harness to be able to prepare for these disasters. But we need to do something about them. One time I was in the refugee settlement in Changwali, and we have some activities there for refugees, doing with sanitation and also environmental protection and also water provisioning. And then the camp commandant was saying, we are expecting an influx. And therefore, we have to prepare for where that influx will go. And I saw them clearing some parts of land and then making sure that when those people come, even putting in place. So that was good. That was good. Because they were, at least they expected and they were preparing. And when actually it happened and refugees, there was an influx of about 4,000 refugees. But they came when the situation was already.
Preparedness when it comes to refugee questions seems to be something that is given a lot of attention, especially from the government. And like you say, the need for a holistic approach, one that ensures that all sector players come in order to ensure that disaster preparedness and crisis management, because we seem to have a problem with crisis management, so much so that you would expect, for example, the Uganda People's Defense Forces to be at hand in times like when disaster has struck. However, it's debatable, the response can be slow or not as prompt as it ought to be, and that of course calls for what you said earlier as a holistic approach. But allow me to go to the 25 years celebrations, the Silver Jubilee. What do we have in store for those that have been beneficiaries over the years, but most importantly, other stakeholders that you seem to be working with?
Yeah, I mean, I think we are not celebrating years, by the way, but we are celebrating the impact.
The impact on the work.
Yes, the impact on the work that we have caused on this community, which we feel proud about. Like, for instance, the time we started when we were doing agriculture, which we mostly took to rural areas, specifically for the reason I explained at first. You find that people were taking barely a meal a day. Like if I talk about places we are working in Soroti, Gweri, Tuburu, Katine, and other places in the east, and also Nakapiripirit and areas of Napak in Karamoja, people were taking barely a meal a day. So the time we supplemented with our activities of agriculture production, increasing food security, I'm proud to say now people are taking 3 meals at least a day, and that's a big achievement. We supported the households with technologies that include production, for instance, improved seeds, and also improved livestock, and also drought animal power for pulling and also opening more land. About 4,800 households benefited from that. We have trained the farmers to save and to invest. We are proud of about 17,000 village saving, VSLA saving schemes in those locations that are able now to reinvest in agriculture, but even go beyond the agriculture for production for food, but also agriculture for production for incomes. We have enhanced farmer organization. We found them as working as individual households. We work to translate into associations and now into cooperatives, which are fully registered. And they even can tap into the benefits of other government programs. For instance, if you talk about the agriculture cluster sector development programs, they are looking for organized people. And that's what we have done. We have created a nucleus that can be tapped by government programs to benefit more. So there is a cause to celebrate under that area of agriculture and processing. The same also applies to the other sectors where we work in, like water and sanitation. We have commissioned a lot of valley dams in the prone areas to drought. We have been talking about disaster in Karamoja. We have commissioned so many boreholes for water for consumption for people and also for animals. We have set up many sanitation facilities in schools and in communities. We are proud of about maybe 300 or so sanitation facilities being put in schools and so on.
Yes.
So
I'm glad you...
there is something to celebrate about in these 25 years.
Yeah, I'm glad you bring up the issue of Karamoja. It's a region and that has been particularly, affected and grapples with disaster after disaster. I don't know whether there is effort, whether you have been contacted or you have made effort to put your 2 cents on board the interventions that government is rolling out in that particular region, and if so, talk about it, but also share with us what approach is best for ensuring food security in Karamoja region.
I mean, Karamoja is quite a complex situation, but I can say that it's now not hopeless. I think because of the continuous sensitization, because development is a slow process. People will not learn it today and tomorrow they start implementing. It is a process. So it has been a process to transport Karamoja. Every effort you can say that has been put there either by government or by civil society, I would say that it is cumulative. It is very important to change people's minds and mindset.
That's right.
If we are going to cause development. And for me, that is number one. I can tell you the first time I went to Karamoja to promote sanitation, it was horrible because open defecation was 90%. We started in the areas of Iriri and the surrounding Manyatas. So we embarked on a system of community sensitization and changing people's minds and attitudes and mindset through a package which is called community-led total sanitation. Community-led total sanitation. That you are doing it yourselves as communities. By first observing what you are actually doing it yourselves. And that if you don't do something,
understanding and appreciating the consequences.
Yes. And that if you don't do it, then you are like, if you got down with typhoid, you would be sure that you have eaten feces. So we would take them through that walk of shame to see where there is feces, to see how the feces are contaminating the water.
That's right.
To see how the children, then we go to see those ones who are sick, and then they see that actually they are sick because they ate the feces.
Because of that particular action.
The next day we went back. After about 6 months, they had constructed 102 VIP, sorry, not VIP, but at least
basic level
sanitation facilities in those manyatas, and they were clean. I only helped with giving them sand plats. So I think the most important
is mindset
change. And when I hear people saying that training is useless, workshops are useless, I don't believe in that.
No, it's perhaps
because
the people that misuse the workshops
maybe
for financial
the
gain.
people who misuse workshops for financial gains are very wrong. Because
and they seem to be the majority.
Then they are playing on the minds of the people, and they also trying to benefit from the from these poor people. But conscientization and trying to change people's mindset is very critical, and you have to do it at the grassroots.
At the grassroots level.
That is what SEED is trying to do. At the grassroots,
okay.
And then you will see big change.
All right.
I think Karamoja can change because now farmers, people in Karamoja are now growing some crops. Yes.
Now, equitable and profitable income generation across communities in this nation is something that is both unclear and seemingly more of a hard, you know, the people who are trying such interventions seem to be falling into the tracks every year, and we seem to discuss the thing up and again. However, in regard to what government is rolling out, the parish development model, your work seems to be heavily embedded in that kind of space. Is it, do you feel, and this is a bit of an uncomfortable question, I'm not saying you're going to be putting government on the spot, do you think the parish development model is a real chance for the kind of progress and transformation that the government, as propped by President Yoweri Museveni, want for the average Ugandan?
I think if we use the right methodologies to implement the parish development model, I think it would be a good thing. Why? It is bringing development closer to the communities than if it was maybe to be a national program up there or at the district. So the parish development model would bring the communities, would bring development to the communities and engage them, and themselves be part of their own development.
Okay.
For instance, I would tell you that when we are doing our agricultural program, we went to the communities and we used the communities to be like the trainers of their own counterparts. We trained whom we call the community-based trainers.
Yeah.
That is the method that we used. And if this can be embedded within the parish development model, that the people themselves be part of the model, be part of the planning, and be part of the implementation and the monitoring. There is what we call community-based monitoring tools. They can be developed. And these communities can follow up on themselves what is being implemented. However, if we get technicians to come from outside, to come and do work and go back, the model might find some challenges.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you very much. But on the very last note, as we enter the final bend of the discussion, celebrating 25 years is always, especially in Uganda, grand stuff. Have you prepared a particular venue or a set of activities that you're going to undertake on a particular day that will allow some of us, for example, who would like to amplify some of these interventions that you do to be part of the process?
Yes, we have prepared a venue, and this venue is at Royal Suits Bugolobi. It's a wide area. It will give opportunity for people to share.
That's right. We
are going to make exhibits. This is a big day. We have developed quite a lot of material. You are talking about collecting information and data. We have collected quite a lot of, we have documented quite a lot of material that we would like on that day actually to share out. We are expecting that we shall have a number of government departments whom we work with very closely.
That's right.
We shall have local governments. We shall have ministries. We are privileged to be even to be sitting to big national meetings which are planning for this country. Like, for instance, we are on the joint sector review meeting for agriculture and also on the joint sector review meeting for water and sanitation, because we are quite big in those areas. So all of that will be an opportunity for us to share. We shall have our donors in there. We shall have the people with whom we work, because they should be the ones to be celebrating these achievements, and we shall have first-hand stories from their progress.
Okay.
Where did I start? Where did I end? Where am I now? They will give all of those stories, and they will be interesting to listen to from the horse's mouth what SEED has done with these people.
All right. Thank you very much, Dr. Fulgencio Juko, the Executive Director at Community Integrated Development Initiatives there, working to alleviate the suffering of people in areas including food security, primary health care, as well as profitable income generation through the use of adaptable technologies.
But before I end on that point,
1 minute, not even a minute, a second.
Just a second. I want to show you this book here.
All right, as you do that, I will ask my floor manager to help me ensure that we do have that book with us, so that Dr. Fulgencio Juko can share with us that very
what I've been describing to you, our methodologies of work and our experiences in community development is all documented in this book, which I've written myself.
Let me have a look.
That's the book.
What we have here is Epic Persistence,
exactly.
One man's journey of an
So I grew up in the village,
developer.
and I saw the shortages in the villages, and I got an inspiration as a young boy that we needed to work and work out of poverty right from our homes where we live.
Wow.
And so I had the passion of transforming my own home, but at the same time also transforming community. And that was also one of the reasons of the birth of this CD that we have. So there it shows the kind of approaches that we use at CD to cause development amongst people, and also to give an inspiration to others that it is possible even when you are coming from a hopeless situation.
That's right.
There's a professor who read that book, and he told me that if he had written it, if he had read it 30 years back, given the kind of shortages I had in my life when I was growing up, and the kind of opportunities he had for himself, by this time he would have been a billionaire.
Wow. Yes. I'll ask the producer to get us a pen so Dr. Juko can autograph my copy of this particular book, Epic Persistence, One Man's Journey of an Ardent Community Developer. It's been a pleasure, of course, having insights and perspective from a man who has embedded himself in humanitarian work. Time now for a short break. Do stay with us. There's a lot coming up.